All right, let's stay in the Big Ten. Oregon at Penn State. It's a big one. Whiteout. By the way, Penn State covered 9 in a row, 9 whiteouts in a row over the past 8 seasons. Going back to 2016. They've only lost one of those games. I think they lost by 1 to Ohio State. Penn State is out to a 3.5-point favorite. Total 52.5. I love Penn State here. Said this on Sunday. Would obviously really like a 3. There was a 3 out there early in the week that I grabbed. You might be able to get it again. I think that it seems like the whole world is betting Oregon. But even at 3.5, that's the side I would bet. Look, I know Oregon has looked great. Dante Moore's looked great. They beat nobody. Like both these teams haven't played anybody, but Oregon had a reason to play and try, and like they had a brand new team. They needed to see what Moore had. They had all these new pieces, and so yeah, they look great. But they beat the brakes off Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State got blown out at home by Tulsa, and then had to fire their coach. Oregon State is atrocious, and then the other Northwestern is bad. Like
didn't cover.
I can't take much from those games. Penn State hasn't looked great, haven't covered yet. They've played 3 cupcakes. People that I'm close to, and this is just my own eyes, they haven't showed anything. They have been preparing for this game since spring. They basically have a 2-game season, this Ohio State. They haven't showed anything. They haven't showed any new wrinkles. I truly believe they upgraded at the wide receiver position. And this is where they have the big advantage. Like, I'm trusting more of my priors. I'm basically saying, okay, yeah, Oregon looks great, but I've seen Dante Moore go 15 of 40 at Utah. I've seen him throw pick 6 under pressure time and time again. Is it all fixed? I don't know. He's the talent advantage that they've had in the first 3 games, and he's not under any pressure. He's not in any hostile environments. This is totally different against an elite defense. So I'm sticking more to my priors here and not really updating where these teams are. And before the season, I would have Penn State between a 7 and 10-point favorite. So 3 all day. When you also throw in the intangibles, Penn State off a bye. And like I said, they've basically been preparing this game for 5 months with arguably the best coordinator duo in the sport. That's worth something. Meanwhile, while Penn State was playing an FCS team, Oregon was traveling across the country to play Northwestern in the conference game, went back to the West Coast to play a rivalry game in the Civil War, and now they're flying back out east. So those intangibles, the whiteout, that all favors Penn State. So, yeah, and then you have to also remember that two of Oregon's best weapons are true freshmen. Like, they haven't been in this environment. They haven't played this. Like, there's no telling that there's no given that they're going to just step up and not fold, and they're not ready. Maybe they're not ready for this moment yet. So I don't trust Moore yet. If he proves it to me, great. 2 things that worry me. Can Penn State just turn it on? Like that's been a concern in the past. Mm-hmm. Can they just flip that switch? And Franklin has turtled in these games, just like decision-making. And Lanning will be aggressive. And that could work in his favor. You see that with Dan Campbell in some games. But I think this is too much of an overreaction to what people have seen against garbage competition. I need to see Moore perform against this level of defense in this environment before I buy into this Oregon team. Everyone was low on this Oregon team. Everyone was selling Oregon, including me. And now all of a sudden, everyone's like, Oregon's number 1 because they beat Oklahoma State and Oregon State by a lot. Please. Penn State.
Well, you and I mentioned this, and for everybody's knowledge, like I took Penn State on the money line in a game of the year before the season started.
Are we putting Penn State on the board?
Yeah, we're putting Penn State on the board, even at 3.5. I don't want to fall into the trap of Penn State shown nothing, because last year Penn State got to 7-0, and we said Kotelnicki's holding back for Ohio State. Would they score one offensive touchdown in that game? I mean, it was pretty gross. I don't know what the game plan. I don't know how much Franklin has in this, but you're right. I mean, turtling up against this beyond riverboat gambler that Dan Lanning is definitely an advantage in Oregon's favor here. But I would like to see more of Kotelnicki's offense that we saw towards the end of the year come into play here. So we'll see if Franklin, allows his coordinators to do what they do. But there are some major, major advantages for Penn State.
Run game. That's where it all starts.
I mentioned this before, that I've been watching Oregon, and they have been sliced in the middle. I
was watching Northwestern run on them.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I watched Kayvon Thibodeau the other night in the NFL, and all I could think about was he was on defenses for Oregon that were sliced in the middle while he was on the edge. It's like it's a serious problem at the defensive interior. So Penn State, you have to look at what Nick Singleton and Katron Allen have done so far. Allen is the one that's been just absolutely gobbling up everything. 5.5 yards after first contact, 14 missed tackles on only 34 attempts. Is insane numbers. And Drew Aller kind of had an off day against Villanova, 2 turnover-worthy plays, but I don't think they need him to beat Oregon here whatsoever. I'm wondering if his focus was on Oregon, but listen, I think Drew Aller still has problems with throwing out of the pocket, taking sacks, but that's not going to be
the tackles for Penn State are a worry. Like, is there going to be too much pressure? But I do think Penn State's going to be able to run the ball, and that'll set up everything else.
Well, everybody's real focused on like Kyron Hudson and Trevor Pena. They just haven't been as explosive as people thought. I just don't think that's what's going on here. The biggest handicap is the fact that Penn State with Kotelnicki runs a ton of outside zone with Allen and Singleton. If you look at Oregon, 42% success rate against outside zone, a schedule of Oregon State, Northwestern, Oklahoma State, and Montana State. That is what they have done. I think this is an extremely bad matchup from a run perspective. On the other side of the ball, Jim Knowles, who, what is this, his third time to see Oregon, I think, in the last, he's seen Oregon a lot in the last 12 months. I think what you have to do, I think you and I talked about this offline. How do I know, with all of these highlights of DeCorian Moore and Dante Moore and all of these great players on Oregon, how do I know that Penn State's going to be able to stack up? Can they tackle in space? It's just one of the biggest handicaps. Like, if you take on one of these elite, elusive targets with all these weapons with Oregon, can you tackle in space? Per PFF, King Mack, a top 20 individual tackler of all PFF safeties that plays for Penn State. That is key against DeCorian Moore in space. He's just going to gobble him up and not let him get away. Corner play is crucial for Penn State. Darius Dixon and Jameer Joseph are 2 of the highest graded defenders in FBS at the corner position. I'm sticking with it. I think the run concepts that Andy Kotelnicki have are going to go right in the face of what the weakest part of the Oregon defense is. They take over the game at the line of scrimmage, and that's exactly what this comes down to.
Yeah, I agree. I think more pick 6 coming.
Oh, boy.
Shot.
So glad I'm not on the Oregon side.
Yeah, wait to see if you can get a 3 though. I think it might pop. So Penn State 3 pending. Look for the 3, but we'll put it on the agree board regardless.